you slow your brain from being a beta to an alpha, and then it weakens your emotional circuits. It makes you reclaim your trap, because we are trapped at the moment. Most of people are trapped in what we call a survival mode, right? Now, and you only get freedom of us unless it's forced by, or if you reprogram your mind. Because the reality is, if you look at the sick office around you, as I mean, I'm talking about my own life, for example, my life, whatever has failed in my life has been a cycle of the same causes. I've got the same effect, even the same result. And I know the pattern, but there is not anybody else who can change for me except myself. And I accept the fact that I need to reprogram my mind to stop doing what I'm doing. So that's why he says in chapter 6 is meditation dissolves your body mind connection and helps you reprogram it, basically. That was my take out of chapter 6, basically.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Sadra. Go ahead, Rohit. Yeah, I agree. I think maybe one thing I was just thinking while Sadrak was speaking. I mean, we usually find proof for anything we think, right? If I think like, oh, I'm so unlucky, I find a million reasons why I might be. But on the other hand, if I say, I'm such a lucky person, I find a million reasons why I am, and that's why I think some people are very critical about, thinking positive won't really help. I mean, yes, it does not help if I don't attach anything to that. But if I prime my brain and find reasons why I am lucky, or why, good things are happening to me, that you can kind of collect those mini experiences and prove yourself that, like upwards in the, like out of the stress and fear into the more positive emotions. Yeah, so that's a nice little reframe, nice little exercise for every day. Yeah, thanks for that. So checking in, Iman, welcome. How are you doing today?
Hi, how are you? Sorry,
Hi,
I
doing
came late.
good.
Yeah, I have workers in the house and they want to go everywhere. And I was about to I will give up and apologize for coming. But then I thought, let me just, he's not gonna go to the kids' room. So I am in one of my kids' room now, hiding
We
from
appreciate the
workers.
effort.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah,
So is it
uh, how's everyone? It uh,
doing good?
it's
Yeah, we
almost a full
just,
house today.
yeah,
That's nice.
almost. Yeah, and I mean, it's
Hi. Happy New Year, everyone. So, how is New Year for everyone so
or you
far?
want to break now the conversation, yeah? I thought we had social hour last week, Iman.
So, yeah. So,
No
I
worries. Do you have
did,
any thoughts, any key points you want to share for chapter 6 or 7?
um, yeah, so many thoughts. But I really didn't catch on with what you were saying because I am my 1 year with the workers and 1 year with you, so I didn't.
Okay, no worries.
But
I don't want
anyway,
to.
it is very good. Chapter 6. We want to start with chapter 6, discussing
Yeah, I
the
didn't
ideas
mean
in
to put
chapter
you on the
6.
spot today, Iman. That's what I did with Saran because you joined a little later. So Saran gave us a very beautiful summary of chapter 6, and then we were
Yeah,
just kind of rolling from there. So I understand maybe right now is not the best time to speak. We are happy to have you there. Of course, if
yeah,
you have any contributions, otherwise, maybe also others wanna share their thoughts. So I'm not putting you
yes,
on the spot today, Iman. How about
great,
that? That's
great.
my New Year's gift for you.
Wow, I can have this gift. I can use this gift all year long.
Okay, okay, understood. Feedback received. Nice. So, yeah, with that, opening up the space, to anyone. Salma, do you have any thoughts? on the, what you have shared, or any additional points you would like to share with the group?
No, maybe reading chapter 1 has given me some doubts about the book, but I want to I really want to see if there's like you said, for example, there are people who think that manifesting and positive thinking isn't very solid. So I was hoping that this book would change that for me, because I'm usually quite skeptical, and I've never tried doing meditation before. So I'm interested in looking at that part when he gets to the meditation part. So the only part I read was the chapter 1, and what made me actually quite skeptical was the two examples he used, the two experiments. I don't know if you discussed this when you were discussing chapter 1, but I really think they weaken the book. The two experiments, one of them being when patients in a hospital, so praying for some patients, and some patients weren't, and in reverse action. That's one thing I really don't think isn't a strong point he's using at all. The second point is the experiment of unwinding the DNA using heart and intention. This isn't science. This isn't scientific. So he says he's a chiropractor, so he studied some anatomy and some. I don't think he qualifies to be teaching neuroscience, and so I'm hoping that he has something solid, and some, even if it's not really scientific, sometimes hearing what you shared and what Saran and Sadrak shared, I think I'm getting something out of that. So sometimes, even if the author isn't from a very scientific background, he could say the words in some way that clicks in my brain and can make me get out with one thing to change or one thing to consider. But I'll see how the book goes, but I didn't think chapter 1 was a good start.
Yeah, maybe Sadrak, I would maybe just go first to answer the question. So we actually talked about, I'm not sure if it was the same situation. I think I mentioned this in last week's or the previous chapter, where I had a similar thoughts on where he was sharing a story about someone going to a retreat and following his method, and then this person was cured from cancer. And I actually shared the exact same point, that I find this example, I'm very happy for that person, and it's really great. But I think it might also provide false hope for someone who's just blindly reading that. And I agree with your point. So we actually discussed that in our last discussion as well. That being said, as you were saying, chapter 1 wasn't maybe set up for success. I had similar challenges with our previous book. You might remember The Winner's Effect. I was so confused the first few chapters, and I would just encourage you to go on. I think, if you take everything with a little bit grain of salt, there are some really interesting concepts in there, which probably also stick and probably even work. But there is a little bit of fluff around it, which maybe makes his theory also, some people question it. So I do see that point, but I do also think that this should maybe not be the reason to completely ignore what he's saying. So it's a great observation. Thanks for sharing, Sama. Iman, go ahead. You want to add something?
Yeah, I want to say to Selma, yeah, wait until chapter, I think 4 or 5, when we discussed that about this the story that Franzi brought up. It will make you doubt some more. But he's trying to explain the spiritual side of life in a scientific way, which I don't really see the importance of that. From my experience, I think these are spiritual things. Salma, some people drink Zamzam water and they get healed. And there's no scientific proof for that, right? So there are a lot of experiences, a lot of experiments, Kaman, not just with Zamzam water, with different kinds of people from different religions, different spiritual backgrounds. they get healed with no scientific thing, or just a physical thing, or like a medicine, or they get into a spiritual experience and they get healed. So, and I know this from experience, you know. So I am so happy that you're reading this book with an open mind. You don't have to believe it now, and you're not gonna believe it until you experience it. If you didn't, you might not believe everything he's saying. He's saying, he's trying to explain it to like make it into a scientific thing, which I don't really see the necessarily like it's necessarily for me, but maybe it's necessary to convince some people who only believe in science. You know what I mean? And I think he also making it scientific. It weakens the I don't know how can I explain it. Like it's I feel like the spiritual experience would remain spiritual, no explanations. Like no,
I
it's
agree.
not like it's like yeah. And even though he's making connections, that's what's happening in the mind and that's what's happening in the body. There are so many things that we're not going to discover, and so many components and so many other things that goes to make the spiritual experience spiritual. It's not going to be only explained by science. But I know he's trying to
Exactly.
convince some people. He's trying to uh, um, like to deliver his message to a certain people who only believe in science. Did he succeed to do that? I don't know, but I still believe that it works and the experience is true, and I believe that it works also in the past. I really do believe that it affects the past, because yeah, it does, because there's no time. Time is an illusion, and we just it's I don't know. It's something that I've been working and experimenting with for years now, more than 10 years.
I'm really interested to hear more about how you can change the past.
Yeah.
That would be like groundbreaking.
So,
Yeah, if you
I'm
can
not sure if the
change,
book
you can
has
change the
enough
past,
time
you
for
can heal
this.
people, from far. If you heard about the Ho'oponopono experience, also experiment, the person who he spoke about it. It's a very big story. He healed people he didn't met, he didn't know. He healed them only by looking at their files. They were in a mental hospital, and it's so great. Like, I believe these stories because I've been there. You know, it's not like I believe it only because I believe the people who worked on these. Um, I believe it because it worked for me, you know? So,
Yeah.
It's
I think
good to
if
have
I can
different
add,
perspective. Yeah. Yeah, we have
yeah, I
two
think
more
if
hands
I
up.
can, oh, sorry, okay.
No worries. Sorry, Sama. If you wanted to
you go ahead,
respond to
Selma,
that.
go ahead. It
I
is
was just going to
interesting to have
say
different.
that I agree with the part that by trying to appeal to the scientific person, like that's something he can try, but he actually chose like weak scientific, what he calls like experiments. These are very weak experiments, so I don't think he had to like get evidence from scientific evidence from this spiritual. So, for example, the prayer and the Zamzam water, I agree. These, so someone could have the Zamzam water and could get better. Someone could do nothing and could get better. But it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who takes the Zamzam water gets better. And there, actually, it's not proven. So, also praying, like I pray, but it doesn't always have to work.
Yeah,
So,
it doesn't.
just
That's why there's
putting
so
it
many
in a scientific
components, as I said.
experiment. Sorry.
As I said, it's so many components goes into this. Like Zamzam water, just by drinking Zamzam water and not believing it, like the placebo effect.
Yeah.
So he has another book that says you are the placebo, because we put, it's our belief that we put onto things that makes it work, not the thing. So that's what I'm trying to say. He's turning it into a scientific thing with evidence that maybe tell people that it works for everyone, but as I said also before when we were discussing this with Franzi, it's you. If you believe in it, that's the contradiction or the irony of the thing. You have to believe in the thing that it is going to work for you in order for it to work.
Can I
But
help you, Iman?
Go ahead,
I-
you're anyhow next in line. Go ahead, Sadrak.
So I'm a Christian Catholic. I believe in Christianity, but I will say something stupid. The Hindu believes in the Buddha, if I'm not wrong, right? The Muslim believe in Allah. In Africa, we have animism. People believe in plants and trees and everything. But all of these different 4,000 different religions in the world, when you do pray to whatever God you believe in, I'm not saying my God is the best, but I'm saying whoever we pray to, if you pray with faith and you believe what you're doing, you get answered. Does that mean that
yes.
there's 4,000 gods alive? That I don't know. But the main common point here is whoever believes and prays with faith does get their answer.
So we
The
are the
rationale
keys.
here is,
Our belief is the keys, right? Is that what you're
thank you.
saying? So
The main point here is our belief and our belief and our faith in whatever we're doing get our answers. Now, in his point of view, he is coming from a background where he's a chiropractor, he's a scientist. He will go on the scientific or atheist point of view, right? Now, Salma may be coming from a Muslim part of why you believe in Islam, but I also say some us in Christianity we pray in the name of Jesus Christ and we believe in Him, not in Islam. But when you pray, we get answered. You pray to Muhammad, you get answered as well. So
we
it's
don't pray to
not different
Muhammad.
from what they are doing. No, it's about the faith at the end of the day. This
We
point
don't
of
pray to Muhammad. We don't pray to Muhammad.
I'm sorry about that. Apologies. We pray
Okay.
to Allah. I'm sorry
Yes.
about that. But my point is, I'm trying to say is, it does not matter what you believe in. It's more about, do you have faith in what you are doing? If you are praying, like I'll give you an example, and I will share something personal. I was absent from the group because I was in a nice place called Alawir, out jail for 2 months. My business partner died, and then we had bounce checks on the company, so he fell on me, and I didn't pay on time, so they arrested me at the airport, put me inside. When I went inside, the first 2 weeks, I was very annoyed because obviously it's not the holiday to be inside there. On the second, after the second week, I said to myself, I will fast for 40 days, and on the 40th day, I'll be out of here. I promise you, I have my book here. I'm going to show it to you. When I started fasting on the 40th day, they called my name. I fixed my problem and I came out of the jail. Right? Whether the God I'm praying is true or not, but the first part was I was having faith in what I was doing. Right? Now, I could have prayed to Buddha, I don't know, Hindu or whatever, shaman or whatever, or my grandmother in the village. But as long as I believe in what I'm doing and have faith in it, what he's trying to say in chapter 6 is quite simple. He says to you that your body connects to your subconscious. Now, in our religion, what you understand is God, Allah, or whoever you believe in, is the subconscious. It lives inside you. In Africa, we say on the left you have Shaitan, on the right you have God in your mind, right? And they're inside you in your subconscious. So if you feed them, whatever you feed your subconscious with is what it gives back to you. If I come and say, me, I can never get a girlfriend, that's my reality. It then becomes my truth. And whatever I can trust and effort, I say to myself, I can never get a girlfriend. I will never get one. If I say unto myself, well, I can't afford this kind of houses, I'm not saying I don't have money for it. I'm just saying to myself, this is not my kind of houses. I'm just stopping myself at that limit to say, any house I see like that one, I can never afford it, full stop. It then becomes my truth. So even in Islam, in Hindu, and any other religion, they tell you something. Power is your words. What you utter with your words can either be a blessing or a curse. We curse with our word and we bless with our words, right? So he's telling you, instead of looking at it, he's telling you when you meditate, you cut that part of the body and the mind, and you then reprogram your mind to be able to only put onto yourself blessings and not curses, for example, if I'm going more on the religious part of things. Does that make sense?
I
But
saw
he,
a lot of
Yes.
nodding heads. Yeah,
aspect that,
looks like.
I mean,
Yes.
he's a scientific. He will tell, he will use the scientific example. Me, I'm a Christian. I will use the Bible as an example. As a Muslim, I'm sure if you are reading the book for like him, you would have used the tools to write in Islam, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Sadrak. So there was your hand up. I'm not sure what's your name. It says
Hi.
Design Space. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure you
sorry.
have another name as well.
Hello, I'm Runa. I
Hi.
actually entered by mistake via my business account. So,
Okay.
hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
So feel free to add your thoughts.
Okay. So, what I like about this book, I actually like love Dr. Joe Dispenza. I watched all his interviews. I've read this book. I've read also You Are the Placebo. What I love about this is that this is not a new notion that our thoughts should be positive. We should think about good things. We should watch our emotions. We shouldn't stress a lot. But what I love about the perspective he's like shining through his book is that um, he's telling us that there is actually a scientific part to this, that actually we can get genes to act in a certain way that makes us sick if we kept on thinking badly. And I'm sure all of you felt that, like you've been very angry that you felt your veins are gonna pop, or you just was in a situation where the next day you got sick. And I think that's something that is already proven. Like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself was written 2012. So by now, he's done way more research. They are doing so many collaboration with universities, with scientists. They have so many cases of people who had something called spontaneous intermissions, where they've healed themselves, as you said. Like you're now you have like something that is incurable, and then you've cured it with the power of thought. So overall, this is the point that I'm talking about, that no matter what this is, it's working. People are getting positive results from it. And I'm not saying someone shouldn't rely on science or they shouldn't go to the doctor. I'm saying that you should go to the doctor, you should have a healthy lifestyle, but you should also keep a positive mindset, have a positive mindset. Like, also he explains that meditation means to get familiar with your emotions. Like, you need to know, why are you feeling like that? Like, if you got so stressed, for example, in a meeting, or like at I don't know, a car crossed you, or in traffic, you felt this anger, like all of a sudden, you just need to see for yourself, search, get out of this busy world that we're in, with the social media and the comparing and the horrible news we hear every day. Sit with yourself in a quiet place and just do whatever you want. Sometimes you can pray. It doesn't matter what your religion is, but you just need to take time away from all of this to know what's happening on the inside, which I think is very healthy in anything, in any case, in any way. And then understand really what's the actual reason for you feeling that way. Of course, this goes from, as I said, being angry to trauma, to feeling something that you've already, like, oh my God, so many questions, so many hands. I'll stop. I'll stop. But this is actually what I've learned reading the books, and what actually is really, really, really something that I've read this book maybe 2 years ago, so this stayed with me. Was this thing that I've always, like, I always have to remind myself, because you can't be perfect. You just have to catch yourself going into the same pattern that you go always, and say, is this loving to me? Am I loving myself right now doing that, thinking those horrible thoughts? Is this good to me? So and also, like, be thinking more lovingly to everything and to everyone, and loving life is good. It's good right now. So thank you all for listening. I'll just stop.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I just wanted to, what you said, and Sadrak also said it earlier. So the one thing, I mean, first of all, being in a positive state of mind to do meditation. First thing I learned new. And the second thing, also what Sadrak said earlier, was that meditation is not for relaxation. I don't know. I got the impression before reading that book that, you know, sit down, meditate in order to relax. And now this book gives like a whole new perspective on what meditation actually does. So that's groundbreaking news for me, I have to admit. And that's why I'm very excited to learn about the book. And to also double down on what Salma you said, right? I mean, I read the book with an open mind. I pick the pieces which, you know, make sense for me. I put some of those questionable stories on the side. I was like, as you said, you know, yes, there are probably success cases where people applied this and it worked for them. But there are probably also a lot of other stories which are not mentioned in the book, who tried the same thing and it didn't work out. And of course, this is something we just need to keep in mind, that it's probably a little bit more biased towards, hey, I'm sharing the success stories to prove my point. But there are, of course, also other stories. So yeah, I just wanted to add on that. And I think, Sadrak, you're next, and then Iman.
So if you get to the chapter 7, I will share an experience that I've experienced before. People who often get addicted to things like alcohol or drugs is the same pattern. What does that mean? When I was a student, I was stupid. I used to get involved in drinking a lot. I was living in Scotland at the time. And then it got to a point where you drink a lot and you fall asleep in the bar or in the club. Then you start looking for something that don't make you sleep in the club, which in my case was, I will call it for the sake of the video call, ice cream. Now, you get to a point where you do ice cream, you stay up for 3 days or 4 days, you can keep on drinking. But what that makes is your brain then becomes in the point where anytime you take one drip of alcohol, it connects as you need now to have drugs at the same time. Now, this is a habit which is bad, which I had created. Now, to move away from that, it's not Salma or Francie who will come and tell me, stop. It needs to come from me. But because I'm already comfortable with the fact that when I'm drinking, I know the reward of drinking and doing drugs is a nice reward. You feel like you're a superhero. But I also know that after that, for the next 9 days, I'm dead. I'm literally sleep for 9 days. I can't do anything anymore. But it took me a lot to move away from that because I was comfortable in that negativity. I was happy there. Now, I'm not supporting gender-based violence, but there are some women, for example, who are in marriage where they get beat up, for example, and they will tell you, it's like that, I'm okay with it. Where the husband is cheating on you, and you say, no, it's okay, at least it pays my rent. You need to, he's talking about those kind of things, for example, for you to move out of that comfort zone, which is not so comfortable, you need to break away from accepting what is not okay in the past to be a norm. Does that make sense? And then reprogram your mind to say, I can't accept the fact that if I drink and I do drugs, I sleep for 9 days. So what should I do? Now, at times, to stop a habit, you cannot stop a habit by force majeure and say, tomorrow, I don't go to work anymore. It's impossible. Tomorrow, I will close all the bars of Dubai. It's not possible. What you need to do then is to first accept it. And yeah, okay, he's emotionally addicted. 2, try to reprogram your mind and so Hansi said, meditation. If you go to any AA classes, or if you go to any drug addict classes or any addiction problems, they give you a medication program first to try to repair your damaged brain. So that's what they're saying about that part. It does make sense. I'm sorry if I used a bit of drastic examples and I was a bit
I was a little shocked, but yeah, we got the point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's in my past, but for me to move away from that, this is what I had to do. And any addiction has the same way of getting into you, and it can be a stress addiction. I have friends who are, I call them spendaholic. She goes to the mall with 10 dirham, she spends 20 dirham, and you're like, okay, right? It's also an addiction. You have those that I have different kind of addiction, but an addiction is an addiction, whether it is emotional, physical, or spiritual, for example. And to get away from that is to deal with it by firstly cutting the thoughts and the conscious and then reprogramming everything. And in this case, is using meditation as one of the tools because other books also give you many other tools. But in this particular case, it's using meditation as a tool, basically.
Yeah, makes sense. Iman.
Oh yeah. There's so many to say. Yes, a lot of things to say. First of all, Rola,
You have 15 minutes left.
I'm not gonna take 50 minutes, but I'm not gonna cover them all, of course. But there is a lot I like to discuss. But Rola, first, you speak Arabic, right? Yes. So we need. I think we need to get to know each other better. So I don't know how to give you my number or something so we can talk some more. The other thing, Cedric, you were saying spiritual addiction. I think in the realm of spirituality, there is no addiction anymore. Like the addiction only works in the mind and the body. But in the realm of spirituality, you are more free. You're more like connected to the quantum field. You're not. It's not addiction unless you are taking spirituality as a identity. So people who are, think they are spiritual or saying they are spiritual, and they are creating spiritual identity, maybe then that's addiction. There is addiction. Yeah, you guys said so many things that are interesting, and I love this discussion. The book, the meditation that he's talking about is not just relaxation because it's deeper, because it takes your brain to the slower rates, to I think theta rates or hertz, or correct me if I'm saying, you know what I mean? So he's taking us deeper where we connect with our quantum, with our quantum side or the quantum field, and really get to change things in the moment. Instant healing or instant healing and had experience with that. I had so many experiences with that when I had instant healing at the moment, and people would not believe me because it sounds like I am lying. It does. It's so strange. I know. But if I didn't have it myself, I wouldn't believe it. And even if I recorded it, what? Record what? It's nobody would believe me. Instant instant change in your reality, in your body, in your personality, and then you have to change everything around you, not just get this healing and then have your life go the same, right? So yeah, again, he's trying to explain it in a scientific way, which is very beneficial because I like to know the subject from every area. Like, okay, it's for me, it's a spiritual experience, but it connects to the body. It shows something on our genes and our feelings in our brains. So I like to know that how it appears in our physical life. It's good to know. But for me, without this book, even if he didn't try to prove it, I still believe it. So that's it for me. His books just try to explain what I've been through or what is really happening in our body, and I like that. I like to read about that side. So yeah, 11 minutes left. Who wants to add something?
Yeah, I think Sadrak's hand is up. And then also if anybody else would like to make any final closing statement, feel free to also use the chat function. Otherwise, we would slowly wrap up. So we have 10 more minutes. And just maybe as a heads up, so next week we are reading then the next chapter, same time, and I will also create a meetup invite. So, but Sadrak, over to you.
I think Hoyt had a hand up before me.
Sorry?
Hoyt had an hand before
Ah, okay, I didn't see that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Chapter 7 tells you something. You must become the person before the experience. What does that mean? So, something we struggle to accept as human beings, spiritual or not, or normal people, everybody is pain, right? And I will share something I learned recently. I read somewhere somebody said to me one time, everything that happens in your life, good or bad, is for a reason, right? For those of us who are here who are spiritual or who believe in some kind of school of thought, they tell you for every birth there is a death, for every joy there's a tear, for every happiness there's somebody sad somewhere, right? Now, the moment we stop trying to understand why always me, because the part where what I understood in this chapter 6 most importantly was our repeated emotions tend to be stress, anger, fear, guilt, because the world we live in is very of a consumable world. Oh, why is Francie wearing that kind of earrings? Why not me? Or why is Salma having a nice cabinet behind her? Why not me? Or why is Sarah having so many books behind her? Why not me? I don't know what they did to have it,
I
right?
have a nice wall as well. You didn't say something.
The camera was off. So we tend to compare ourselves for everything and anything. And that's one thing that creates those repeated emotions, which really lead to stress, anger, fear, and guilt, and sometimes sadness. That's the reality. Oh, why are you driving a Toyota Nissan when me I'm driving a Camry or whatever? Now, there is a time for every in the Bible we say in Ecclesiastes there is a time for everything, right? And when my time will come, it will come. So the moment you learn to accept that, and that everything happening in good and bad in your life is for a reason, and you accept it, you're doing the first move already. Then I'm not saying accept it and take it and make it as your truth. Accept it and deal with it your own way. However, find a way for, I mean, we all know what is our very, I call it délit mignon in French, our very nice guilt part. Like me, I know my pattern is if I do one project, two project, I fail, I will turn back to what I call evade, which is alcohol and something else, and the cycle goes back to zero. I will do something good. I will work. I will work. I will work. I will stop some point. I will get burnout. I will do 3 months of partying, and I will go back to cycle. And we all know what is our own patterns, all of us, unless we're lying to ourselves. Now, how do you break away from that pattern? That's what he's giving us here in chapter 7. He's telling us you create in a new mind for your new future. When you were growing up, you had this cartoon, Tiki. 1 second, please. Go.
Let me just jump right in here. So I share my thoughts quickly. Sadrak, I think you said something very important. I think it's finding the sweet spot between accepting what's happening to us versus also pushing, and dreaming for that like better, bigger thing. Like I think there is this fine balance we need to find. I mean,
Yep.
yes, everything happens for a reason, but if we, as you said earlier, if we would just simply accept everything which is happening to us, then we would miss out such a great life and such great opportunities if we wouldn't believe there is something better, greater for us to improve or to enrich our lives. So just finding the sweet spot makes sense.
They often say, we call it your mother or your mother nature or your parents don't give you a plate of food that you cannot finish. What does that mean? Whatever comes to you in life is to prepare you for something in the future, in good or bad. I have so many things that happened to me when I was at high school or uni. And I'll turn around to them and I go, wow, if those things had not happened then, I wouldn't be ready for what I went through last year, for example. So at times, yes, our life past don't come back. Time flies. The past will not come back. It's true, right? But what do you learn from the past to better prepare your future? And how do we adjust it not to make sure that the cycle does repeat itself? Because life is a cycle. Tonight will be midnight, tomorrow night again midnight. It's a cycle all the time. So how do we avoid that the midnight of yesterday becomes midnight tomorrow? That's what I'm saying to you. It's saying create a new mind for your new future. Whatever you're going through today is not the end of the world. The day is the end of the world. Is the day Allah or God calls you back and say, Abba, close your eyes now, go somewhere else. And until such a time, how do we make sure we improve our life for the next day? By learning, accepting what happened in the past, learning from it, and trying to make a change from there.
That's good, Sarah.
Yes. So, what I wanted to add is that in the chapter 7 itself, so my takeaway from that was that, the things that have happened in the past, the trauma or whatever our fears, anxiety, all that negative emotions that we have had in the past, if we are able to deal with them, confront them, then we'll be free of those fears, I mean, those kind of negativity in those emotions, and we'll be able to accept those things. So, in that case, we'll be able to free ourselves, and then we can and then whatever we experience in life, we can be completely happy. If there is some happiness in our life, we will not think about, our real self is fearful, unhappy. Then we can have that happiness flow into us as a person, and then with that happiness, being a happy person, we can basically have manifest good things in life. So this was kind of a takeaway for me from the 7th chapter, and now only 3
Love
minutes
it.
left. Yeah.
Such a lovely closing, Saran. I could not have, done this any better. Really great. Amazing. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, unless somebody has like a last minute thought, I think it's probably time to wrap up. As I said, I would share the new meetup invite. So we would use the same link next week, same time. I would propose we are going ahead with chapter 8 and probably also 9. 9 is a little shorter. So let's see how far everyone is going until next week. I know some of you have quite a few more chapters ahead of you, but then let's next week focus on chapter 8 and 9. And
So Rola, do you wanna connect?
yeah, and then whoever wants to connect,
Sure,
feel free to
Iman.
use the
How
chat function or on Meetup.
how do we do that? Like, are you on Meetup right now in the group?
Yes, I'm in the group. Yeah.
Yeah, Rola, what? Can you find
And
me?
okay,
Yeah.
I'll find you. Okay.
Okay.
After this.
Wonderful. Great. Then have a wonderful evening and then see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Iman.
Bye.